The Galactic Council Chamber was a marvel of engineering and scale, a testament to unity or dominance of the most powerful species in the known universe. Suspended in the heart of the Orion Nebula, the vast, domed structure pulsed with the soft glow of artificial gravity stabilizers. It was here that the fates of entire civilizations were decided. Some species came seeking alliances, others pleaded for their survival. But today, the Council had convened for a different reason, to judge the worth of humanity. Earth's representative, Ambassador Julian Rains, stood alone at the center of the chamber, facing a semicircle of towering figures. His navy blue uniform, adorned with the insignia of the United Earth Federation, was pristine, but the weight of a planet's expectations bore heavily on his shoulders. He kept his face calm and unreadable, despite the open ridicule emanating from the council members. At the head of the assembly sat Supreme Chancellor Zalvax, the leader of the council. His species, the Velthri, were a terrifying blend of cephalopod and primate, with muscular, tentacled limbs and piercing violet eyes that gleamed with intelligence and condescension. "So, this is Earth's proud delegate," Zalvax mused, his voice reverberating through the chamber. His tendrils flexed, a gesture of mild amusement. "You stand before us, requesting a place among the Galactic Coalition as an equal power?" Rains nodded, his voice steady. "Yes, Chancellor. Humanity has much to offer. We seek not only recognition, but the opportunity to contribute to the galactic order." A low chuckle rumbled through the chamber. The council members, representing the most feared and advanced species in the universe, exchanged knowing glances. "You contribute," rumbled Axtari General Thrask, his deep, guttural voice laced with mockery. The Axtari were massive, warlike beings, their thick obsidian armor and glowing crimson eyes evoking images of nightmares. "What could your kind possibly offer? Your species is weak, your technology is primitive, and your warriors laughable." A burst of cruel laughter rippled through the assembly. The reptilian Drith tactician, Harkos, flicked his forked tongue and hissed, "We have species bred solely for war, armies that have conquered entire systems. What do your warriors have?" The VA Thax delegate, a towering insectoid covered in iridescent chitin, clicked its mandibles in amusement. "Perhaps they mean to challenge us with their firearms?" The words dripped with sarcasm. Rains expected this. Humanity was a newcomer on the galactic stage, and to these war-hardened civilizations, Earth was little more than an insignificant backwater planet with delusions of grandeur. What they didn't realize, what they refused to acknowledge, was that humans had spent their entire existence fighting, adapting, and surviving against impossible odds. He straightened his posture and met the Chancellor's gaze. "If you doubt our strength, allow us to demonstrate." Zalvax's amusement grew. "A demonstration? How quaint. And how do you propose we measure your so-called strength?" "The trials of dominion," Rains said without hesitation. The chamber fell silent. The trials of dominion were ancient and brutal, a series of combat challenges designed to test the mettle of the galaxy's greatest warriors. Few had ever passed, and those who did became legends. No species entered lightly. Axtari General Thrask let out a deep laugh. "You dare put your warriors through the trials? That is suicide." "Then you have nothing to fear," Rains countered. "Let us compete. If we fail, humanity will accept its place as an inferior race. But if we succeed," he let the challenge hang in the air. Zalvax leaned forward, intrigued. "And if you succeed, then Earth earns its place among you as equals." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The council had not expected such boldness. Some found it amusing, others insulting. But none could deny that if humans somehow survived the trials, their place in the coalition would be undeniable. The Supreme Chancellor considered for a long moment before finally speaking. "Very well. The Council accepts your proposal. Earth's finest warriors shall participate in the trials of dominion." He smiled, though there was no kindness in it. "Prepare your best, Ambassador. They will need more than courage." Rains exhaled slowly. He had done his part. Now, the fate of humanity rested in the hands of Earth's most elite warriors. Aboard the UEF Independence, a massive stealth warship in low orbit above Earth, Captain James Cole stood before a holographic display in the war room, his expression unreadable. The room was dimly lit. the blue glow of the tactical interface casting sharp shadows on the faces of the men and women around him. The best of the best. SEAL Team 7, hand-picked for this mission, chosen because failure was not an option. "All right, listen up," Cole began, his voice even but commanding. "The Galactic Council thinks we're weak. They think humans don't belong among the so-called great civilizations of the universe. Our job is to prove them wrong." A low chuckle came from Gunnery Sergeant Miguel Ramirez, a stocky, battle-hardened warrior with a reputation for never backing down from a fight. "So, we're going to show these overgrown lizards and bugs what a real fight looks like." "Damn right," Cole replied. "They've thrown us into something called the Trials of Dominion. The intel we have suggests it's a 3-stage test: survival, one-on-one combat, and a full-scale war scenario. We'll be up against some of the deadliest species in the galaxy. The Council expects us to die. I plan on disappointing them." The team exchanged glances, their faces betraying nothing but hardened determination. Lieutenant Sarah Kim, the team's close-quarters combat specialist, leaned forward. "What's the terrain like?" Cole tapped the console, and the holographic display shifted to a rotating projection of Xiphos 9, a brutal moon designated as the testing ground. Towering obsidian cliffs, molten rivers, and jagged rock formations stretched across the barren surface. A perpetual storm raged in the sky, thick clouds illuminated by occasional bursts of blue lightning. Gravity is slightly higher than Earth's. The atmosphere is breathable but thin. Expect extreme heat during the day and sub-zero temperatures at night. There's no plant life, only rock, dust, and whatever nightmare fuel they throw at us. "Standard Tuesday," muttered Ramirez, earning a few smirks from the team. "The first test," Cole continued, "is the gauntlet of beasts. We drop in unarmed and have to survive against whatever bioengineered killing machines they unleash. No backup, no resupplies." Sergeant Darius Hunt, the team sniper, exhaled sharply. "Great. They're not even pretending to make this fair." Cole gave a grim smile. "That's the point. They don't think we'll make it past the first round." He tapped the display again, shifting to the next phase. "If we survive, we go to the gladiator pit. One-on-one combat against the best fighters from other species. Weapons will be primitive: blades, axes, spears. No guns." Kim nodded. "Close quarters is our specialty. I like our odds." Cole met her gaze. "Don't get cocky. These aren't barroom brawlers. They're apex predators who have spent lifetimes training for this." He swiped to the final stage. "And if we make it through that, we face the war simulation, a full-scale battle against elite shock troopers from the Galactic Council. We'll be outnumbered 50-1. Silence settled over the room for a moment. Sergeant Nolan Briggs, the team's explosives expert, cracked his knuckles. "So, basically, we do what we always do: turn the tables, blow some shit up, and make and regret underestimating us." Cole smirked. "Exactly." He looked around the room, meeting each of their eyes in turn. "We weren't chosen just because we're good. We were chosen because we're the best. They want us to die. Instead, we're going to show them what it means to be human." The team gave firm nods. They were ready. Cole turned to the mission specialist, a civilian scientist named Dr. Evelyn Carter. Unlike the SEALs, she wasn't a warrior. She was here for strategic oversight and last-minute survival adaptations. Her face was pale, but her voice was steady. "I've studied the physiology of the competing species. Most rely on brute force. They expect direct confrontation. Our advantage is adaptability, teamwork, and unpredictability." Cole nodded. "That's what we do best." A red light flashed in the room, followed by the voice of the ship's AI. "Final deployment sequence initiated. Drop in 10 minutes. The SEALs stood, moving toward the armory. They stripped down to their exosuits, lightweight but reinforced combat armor, designed for extraterrestrial environments. Unlike standard military gear, their suits had graphene-infused plating, reactive camouflage, and oxygen reserve for extreme conditions. Their weapons were equally specialized. The XM-98 railguns could punch through 2 feet of solid steel. Their modified M4 carbines fired experimental energy rounds capable of ionizing targets on impact. And for close-quarters combat, They carried plasma-infused combat blades, a recent breakthrough in Earth's military technology. Check weapons, Cole ordered. We're stepping into hell. Each SEAL went through final checks. Magazines were locked in, blades were sheathed, and comms were tested. 5 minutes to drop, the AI announced. The SEALs moved toward the deployment bay, where the drop pods awaited. Unlike traditional insertion methods, these pods were equipped with gravitic dampeners, allowing them to survive high-speed planetary entry without detection. Cole climbed into his pod and secured his harness. The rest of the team followed, each pod sealing with a hiss. The countdown began. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The pods launched. Cole's stomach lurched as he was fired into the void of space. Stars streaked past his viewport before the barren surface of Xiphos. 9 came into view. The moon's gravity pulled them in, and the heat shields flared against the friction. A violent jolt slammed through the pod as it entered the atmosphere. Alarms blared, but the dampeners held. Through the reinforced glass, Cole saw the rocky terrain rushing toward him. Impact in 10 seconds. He tightened his grip. 5 seconds. A sharp bang reverberated as the pod's reverse thrusters fired, slowing descent. Then, impact. The pod slammed into the ground, the reinforced plating absorbing the shock. The hatch blasted open, and Cole unstrapped himself, stepping onto the harsh, alien soil. His HUD flickered as the rest of the team's pods landed nearby. One by one, the SEALs emerged, weapons raised, forming a defensive perimeter. Dust swirled around them, the eerie landscape illuminated by flashes of blue lightning in the distance. Cole's comm crackled. All units accounted for. No casualties. He scanned the horizon. No immediate threats. But that wouldn't last. Then a deep, guttural growl rumbled through the air. The gauntlet of beasts had begun. The first trial was survival. The gauntlet of beasts. Captain James Cole and his team moved into formation, eyes scanning the rocky terrain. The air smelled of sulfur, and jagged cliffs loomed in the distance. They had landed in a valley surrounded by obsidian spires. The ground cracked and scorched from past battles. Then, the growling intensified. Out of the shadows, monstrous creatures emerged. 12-foot-tall reptilian hunters with razor-sharp claws, biomechanical wolves with glowing red eyes, and insectoid horrors with serrated mandibles. The council had sent their most terrifying creations. Cole's grip tightened on his rifle. Weapons free. The SEALs opened fire. Railgun rounds tore through thick alien hides. Plasma-infused blades sliced through bone and chitin. Kim ducked under a lunging predator and drove her knife into its throat. Ramirez emptied a full clip into a charging beast, dodging its dying swipe. A wolf-like creature tackled Briggs, its jaws snapping inches from his throat, until he jammed a grenade into its mouth and kicked it away. The explosion sent black ichor raining down. The fight lasted for 20 grueling minutes. The SEALs moved like ghosts, adapting to their enemies' movements, exploiting weaknesses. The beasts fought with savage fury, but the humans fought with strategy. When the last monster fell, its gurgling death cry echoing across the valley, silence followed. Then, a metallic voice boomed overhead. Trial 1, complete. The SEALs barely had time to catch their breath before they were teleported to the next challenge, the gladiator pit. They appeared inside a massive coliseum, surrounded by thousands of alien spectators. The crowd roared with excitement, eager to see humans die. Cole and his team stood in the center, unarmed. Across from them, the galaxy's finest warriors emerged. 7 opponents, each chosen from their species' elite. Axtari warlords, VA Thax duelists, and a towering armor monstrosity known as a Drachmor. Weapons materialized at their feet, blades, axes, spears. No guns. Cole picked up a combat knife. He had trained for moments like this. Time to remind the galaxy that humans weren't just soldiers. They were survivors. The battle began. Kim was the first to strike, darting under a massive Axtari's warhammer, severing its tendons with 2 precise slashes. The beast roared in agony before she silenced it with a thrust through the throat. Ramirez faced off against a 4-armed VA Thax, dodging rapid strikes before slicing through one of its arms. He used a severed limb as a weapon, beating the alien down before finishing it with a brutal stab. Hunt, the sniper, took a different approach, bait his opponent, a monstrous Drakmor, into charging. At the last moment, he sidestepped and threw a spear with lethal precision, piercing the creature's eye socket. One by one, the seals cut down their foes, not with brute force, but with skill, precision, and ruthlessness. By the time the dust settled, only humans stood. The arena was silent. Then, thunderous applause. Even the Galactic Council members looked stunned. Zalvax, watching from his high throne, narrowed his violet eyes. These humans were not to be underestimated. Trial 2, complete. The final trial, war. The seals were transported to a new battlefield, an alien city reduced to ruins, towering skyscrapers crumbling, smoke rising from burning wreckage. Across the horizon, the Council's shock troopers gathered, thousands of them, heavily armored, armed with plasma cannons, drones, and combat walkers. The seals? Still just 7 men and women. Cole surveyed the battlefield, his mind already racing. They couldn't win through sheer firepower. They had to be smarter. He activated his comm, Ramirez Hunt, find high ground, snipe enemy commanders. Kim, Briggs, booby-trap the streets, force them into choke points. We turned the city into a goddamn kill box. The seals scattered, working fast. They didn't need numbers. They needed tactics. The first wave of enemies marched in, disciplined, organized. Then chaos. Kim's explosives detonated, turning a narrow alley into a firestorm. Snipers eliminated enemy officers, sending squads into confusion. Ramirez hijacked an enemy drone, using it to attack their own forces. Cole and Briggs ambushed a tank column, using scavenged explosives to turn their own vehicles against them. For hours, the battle raged. The Council's forces expected brute force. They got guerrilla warfare instead. When the dust settled, the battlefield was littered with bodies. The Council's elite force, destroyed by just 7 humans. The seals, bloody but standing, looked at the carnage. They had won. Above them, the holographic display flickered. Final trial, complete. Humanity's rise. Back in the council chamber, silence reigned. Supreme Chancellor Zalvax's amusement was gone. The laughter from before had turned to uneasy respect. You have proven your worth, he admitted slowly. Earth shall have a seat in the Galactic Coalition. Cole stepped forward, his face impassive. Told you. The humans turned and walked out, leaving the council in stunned silence. That day, the galaxy learned a valuable lesson. Never underestimate Earth's warriors.